Whatever.
I haven't done this way. Repeat after me.
I'd say last time was probably 2 years, well, almost 2 years
Why do you repeat after me? What did I do when you didn't do it?
ago.
What did I say?
I think Chris might have done it last time.
Yeah, it could be. I think I saw Chris.
Yeah, I think I know they're like you. They have production. Me, memorize that. Congratulations. Carl, we lied. Carl, we got live. Oh, wonderful. Let me know. I'll be there. I just almost swear. You know, if I need them.
I state your name. I state your name. Oh.
Read it off. I state your name, Stephanie.
Eric, now we're going to cover a couple things, and don't you say I in there anywhere.
No.
I don't want to confuse it.
Nope, I shan't.
Unless you want the seat for a little while.
Nope.
Did you guys
I'd
get
be
2
fired in
surveys?
short order.
I may be.
One for a tuning and then a corrected
That
one?
wouldn't last
Yeah.
long.
Okay.
Too detail oriented for me.
There's
Corrected
two
deals,
classes,
I
is
was
that
wrong.
correct?
What's that?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you guys got it.
Okay.
This corrected one is in, I don't know if you saw that he spelled county wrong up here.
Oh,
So they're supposed to be sending a new,
new sheet.
but it won't change anything down here.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we can just approve it without calling Mike out on not spelling county correctly.
You're looking at it.
I have found it works really well. What I do is I have folders for every meeting. Like when I get an email, I'll put whatever, like the attachment is in the folder. That way, like, that thing that we sent out the last meeting, then I can just go to this folder and then find it. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, I just.
Because I have it broke down like per folder. I have one for you, one different department. A lot of the meetings.
Yeah.
And then I just figured if somebody had a question, I could give you both puppies and you have neighbors like them.
Morning, Dean. Morning, Neil.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi, Gene.
Hi.
It's a couple, they were from Colorado originally. No, registered vote. Almost wanted to tell me, you know, you paid about $100,000 more than that house was worth. Not my problem. But my daughter's like, they have horses and that was probably cheap for them because Colorado's coming from Colorado. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. It's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. I have a couple of agenda items. There are 2 plats that Courtney had sent out that did not make in the printed agenda. I'd like to see if we could add those. And my next question is, committee reports, would you like to do before or after the closed session?
I would say before.
Okay, any other votes? We had before mentioned here.
Yeah, before the closed session.
All right, very good. Then we'll leave them right as such. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda with the one change of adding the plats.
Was there also going to be something done on the radio towers?
Nope.
That's next Monday.
Next Monday.
Oh, next Monday. Okay.
Monday.
I'll move to approve the agenda with those additions or that
I'll
addition.
second that motion.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda with the addition of the 2 plats. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes of the June 22nd meeting.
I thought they read well. I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the minute. Minutes of June 22nd. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries. First item up is county treasurer appointment, the resolution of 2020-09. Any discussion on it?
I will make a motion to approve the resolution 2020-09, appointing Lisa Wagner as Carroll County Treasurer.
I will second that. Okay, any more discussion? Lisa, here's your last chance. All right, we'll call for the vote on this.
Can we do a roll call?
And we'll have a roll call.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Shetler,
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Motion carries. And for some reason I forgot to put a copy of it. So I'll get.
Okay,
a copy.
very good.
Here it is.
With that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric and Lisa, and Eric is going to swear her in today.
Camera.
You are not.
There you go.
You ready? Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of the office
discharge all the duties of the office
of the Carroll County Treasurer. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's all good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thanks.
I will go to work.
Congratulations, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Congratulations, Lisa.
Thank you.
May I borrow your map?
Yeah, congratulations.
And that just upstairs.
Yeah, you can just bring it back down or bring it, drop it off in the office.
Yep, just
Yeah,
that. All right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Congratulations.
All right, next item up is secondary roads.
Good morning, Zach.
Morning.
First up, I got a couple utility permits today. First one is for Mid-American Energy, and it's just for a drop crossing across Kitty Hawk Avenue for residents. Nothing abnormal, just a normal minimum depth boring underneath of 48 inches.
Did I see that they are putting in a polyurethane tube?
Yes, they are putting it, most of the time, I think they do usually put it in a conduit,
I think this
the
is
power.
a good policy to have, because when you have a repair situation, you don't
Yep,
unearth the road again.
Yep.
Something go in and out.
I know it didn't always used to do that, but I believe
No, I
that's,
think that's true.
but I think that's,
People are starting to see the light, it's not that much more expensive.
it's not, and to some extent, it might be easier to bore that, so.
Save the money later.
Yep. So that's the first one. Second one is for Western Iowa Power Cooperative. And this is for replacing a little bit of line This is in Birch Avenue and 230th Street. So kind of west edge of the county there, west of Halber, basically. Basically replacing some, they had some overhead and they're looking to plow this in the road. There is one culvert they'll need to bore underneath. I'm working out the details on that with them right now as we speak, but other than that, I see no issues with what they're trying to accomplish.
With that, I will make a motion to approve both utility permits.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Looking for a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the utility permits. There's two of them. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to the department update, I got a few things on the list here. We have hired a new administrative assistant to replace Becky. Amy Fernanding will start next Monday. So we'll have a couple months of training with her before Becky leaves. So that's good. I think that will be a good fit. Second thing, we do have a gentleman, Randy Hart, has given me his notice that he intends to retire this fall, coming up in November. So he'll be working till sometime in October, early October, and then retiring officially on November 2nd. So at some point, we'll start the process of looking into replace him. We got a little time for that. Just wanted to let everyone know.
Zach, do you think there'll be a direct replacement or will there be some shifting
I-
of employees going on?
I believe there'll be some shifting, so we're kind of working out. There's a couple shifts already and kind of and so it'll work its way
Well, I
down.
just
So
know where some of them employees live.
exactly,
That may work out in both benefits.
exactly. So I think it will, and so but
Okay, very good.
appreciative of the time, the lead time on
Yeah.
that, because that's a good thing. So
Yeah, very good.
Did you say who that was, Zach?
Randy Hart, Gene,
Okay.
out of Coon Rapids. Oh, Neil's trying to talk.
How many years has Randy been with Carroll County?
Long time. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head, Neil.
Okay, I know it's been a long time too. It just might be well worth asking him if he wants to come back and work part-time during the winter if we have a bad storm, but just a thought.
I sure can ask him that. I think the winter is what he's trying to get away from, though.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but you beat me to it, Zach.
I ran into him probably 3 or 4 months ago, and his wife's been retired for a while, and the part of the conversation was traveling to a warmer part of the climate during the winter. So I would say the answer is probably no.
I just set them there. Zach will put them back.
Okay. All right.
A few other things just to note. We did get our contract gravel completed. So that's all been done. That was all kind of in the southeast corner of the county this year. So that work's been done. We did receive our motor grader, that second motor grader for this year. Working on getting that in service, so getting radio in and all that stuff done. Our gravel has been produced at the Twain pit, so that is piled and ready for us whenever we're
How did it look? Pretty good.
pretty good. And it's not exceptional, but it's pretty good.
That's the downfall, but
It is. I mean, we kind of, we knew that going in, and location is worth something as well, so we kind of bit that bullet. We also did get our concrete crushed, both the pile here in Carroll at the depot and our pile in Arcadia. That's been taken care of, so we got that taken care of. Pretty good pile here in the depot this year. Also, the pavement markings got completed as well. Got those all done for this year. And then currently kind of working on the shoulders on the N33 Denham Willie Road. That'll be another few week process, I'm sure, weather permitting. It's quite a bit of dirt needs to go in some of those locations. So, but it's looking good and continuing on. So
I drove the Willie Blacktop the other day. How far are they planning on getting with that shoulder?
we went through and evaluated the whole stretch all the way down to Dedham, and trying to put shoulders on there. As we're trying to maintain a 6 to 7 foot top width outside of the edge of the road, is what, or shoulder is what we're trying to get to. So there's sporadic places all the way through. The majority of it is between Willie and Carroll. There is, I think, one spot maybe south of there, but there is some right of way challenges and some real steep slopes that we're going to have to make do and do the best we can. But that's how far we're going, Neil.
All right, thank you.
I think that's all I got.
Okay, any other questions or things for Zach?
I just have one question for Zach. And this is, I've heard this thought come out in city municipalities are preparing shovel-ready projects just in case there would be such a stimulus plan like there was in 2010. Any thoughts to that, Zach? Do we have shovel-ready projects that we could write up a plan for just in case something would come up, some funding would be available?
We really don't have anything in hand right now, but I think there'll be some overlay projects, roads that we could put together relatively quickly. That'd be a simple project, and it's something that we've talked about, but we haven't acted on yet. But it's something I'm going to dig into a little deeper. I think it's not a bad idea. Whether there's going to be funding there or not, it's kind of seems like it's hot and cold. Sometimes there's lots of talk about it, and then it kind of cools off. But it's definitely not a bad idea.
I think you're right, Zach, that we could probably do a lot of new overlays. Our asphalt pavements aren't getting any better.
Would that be achievable just by moving ahead, perhaps our 5-year plan?
Possibly, that could be. It depends on how much money is available and situations. The Denham Willie Road obviously is a little bit different because it's got some of our STP funding in it, and we really don't want to get off kilter with that. But there might be ways to pair that with other dollars and whatnot. So it all depends on where the money would come from and how it would be written, how we'd be able to use it.
Okay. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Zach.
The next item up is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Veteran Affairs Commission appointment. Veteran Affairs Committee. Neil and Jean, do you have something for that?
We are just making a reappointment of Robert Tigas. His term expired and he's willing to continue to be on the board, so we just need to appoint him for the new term.
Okay. Robert Tigas is expiring and he would serve again. Do you guys have any issues with that?
I do not.
He'd be fine.
Okay, so I'm looking, we need a motion and a second on that.
I will make a go ahead, Neil.
I'll move to reappoint Robert Tegas to the Veterans Affairs Commission.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the appointment of Robert Tigas to the Veterans Affairs Commission. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carried. General Assistance Manual.
Chad is not with us today because he's got some other meetings. But I emailed that all out to you. After we had this done, he visited with staff. They thought there was a couple changes that could be done, and he's got them noted. Unless someone's got an issue, I think we'll go ahead with those. They've taken some stuff out where they thought it was not necessary. And on some cases, they added per household on a few things. So there wasn't an so they couldn't get too much. So those are the major changes. He just wants just kind of our blessing on that. On utilities, he also added garbage in there too.
Yeah, that's the changes I had.
So I was reading over it, Gene, and you might be able to answer this. So the deleting on page 9, the applicants may be required to pay a portion of the rent due. Is there a reason they're deleting that?
Well, particularly that portion about they may have to pay part of it, but that part of that money order, they don't want to be the middleman handling money, which, this kind of can create problems as we're aware.
Okay.
So they wanted that eliminated out of that. They're not the middleman handling the money.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yep, the rest of it looked great.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have any problem with the changes at all.
Okay with me.
Yeah, and like Chad said that, he thinks this will do for now, and then maybe after our 6 months, he may take a look at if there's something that needs to be changed again. But so that if you're all okay, that's all we need. I don't think we need to even do a motion on it. I don't believe.
Okay. We're not.
It's up to you.
Are we entering into a contract with him, sort of?
We already did. The 20.
We already did that.
Okay, we've already voted on that, so this is just a manual change.
Yes.
I'm okay with not. Thanks for your work on this, Gene. Thanks, Chad, too. We talked to him. He's been very helpful. I'm hoping that this moves us forward starting today. He's starting to take over the program, and I think he'll do us a really, really good job. So.
The only thing I would suggest, Courtney, maybe can we on that phone number over there at the Fricky building, put it in there and put a message that they can contact out there at NUOP for general assistance.
Can we have call forwarding capabilities on the old general assistance number in order to ship it to?
I'd have to see the separate system.
Okay, would you?
I mean, I don't know that would necessarily have to be a call forwarding.
Well, if we have that capability within our own system, I don't want to go outside and purchase it. If we have that capability, Carl's going to look into it and see how the best way to get it over there.
Well, I mean, either to just put on the tape that they're to call this number, if it has to be that, that'd be fine.
Look into it.
I would like to see that done for a while and then just get rid of the number. Because why pay for a number we don't even have?
And we can change that number on our website, or else we would that have to probably copy it and send it to the directory assistant. But that was kind of the process. I don't know. Look into that a little bit too, and I think Courtney's right. Eventually, it's dropping the line altogether. All right. Okay. The next thing we have up is an enter fund transfer resolution.
All right, that is our TIP money that we got from ICP, and we're moving it to the local option fund. So just needed to do that. So they paid their taxes. And I think when we first did that loan, we thought it'd be paid off in about 5 years, and we're still on track for that happening. So looks like we got a few more years yet. But
Any questions about this resolution on the TIF?
No.
Okay. So.
I'll make a motion to move the sum of $68,960.31 from the tax increment financing fund to the local option fund.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Any more discussion on that first? Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is a roll call resolution.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Cutler,
Yes.
Bott,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, next thing up is the appropriation resolution.
So this appropriates 85% of our 21 budgeted expenditures. We need to do this in order to spend any money since we are in the new year.
Yes, this is the new fiscal year for us.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the appropriations.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on it? It's a resolution, call for roll call.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Cutler,
Yes.
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, the next thing up is the fiscal 21 year wages. You all had that in your packet. And took a little gander at them a little bit.
I have a question on that. In regards to treasurer, we have Gene Seidel and getting her full payment, and Lisa Wagner is not being paid. Well, it's being paid, her current salary.
So let me grab this. So technically, the treasurer's salary shouldn't even be on the letter because the treasurer's salary is included in the budget. It doesn't need to be on the letter. That's already been approved back when we approved the budget.
Okay.
So if you disregard Jean's on there and we have Lisa, basically Lisa's going to move into Jean's salary.
Yes.
And that leaves Lisa's salary there. I have no idea what she plans on doing. If she's going to be hiring somebody, if she's going to be moving staff around, I don't know. But technically, the treasurer shouldn't even be on this letter. It should just be Lisa's name. But I don't.
Okay.
I mean, the salary's been approved already, and that's what Lisa will have. Basically, Lisa's salary is the one kind of left up in the air at this point.
All right. If you're okay with it, I just thought I'd bring it to our attention because we have made that appointment and the names are incorrect on the letter. Okay.
Any more discussion on the wages? It all look correct to me.
Nickel for every 5 years per hour. 10 cents, 10 years, 15 cents, 15, 20. Depending on how many hours you work, it could be 2,080 times a nickel or 1,950 times a nickel.
Any more questions on the salaries? Okay, we're looking for a motion to approve the fiscal year 21 salaries.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Go ahead, Jean.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
A second.
And Stephanie seconds. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries. Carl, is there anybody on the line any questions about the annual routine? Okay, very good. Okay, the next thing up is a manure management update. That's the Clayburgh site of Section 31 in Union Township. That is a 4-year update with no changes. All right, the next thing is the ambulance committee stipend discussion. Last Wednesday, Daryl Baker and Stephanie and I joined in on a Zoom meeting with Dawn Meyer and Amy Ferngang from Manning. Amy is going to work for the secondary roads, and right now she's doing all the paperwork and the things for the ambulance. To make this a long story short, we had quite a discussion about it. They are faced with some very large problems right now. They are not running in, their volunteering has not been keeping up with the needs of the ambulance. I kind of told them that that would have to come from within the city. They'll have to try to maneuver that the best they can, try to emphasize in their own community the importance of having an ambulance there. I'm afraid that what we heard was maybe July the 6th. The ambulance calls may have to come back to Carroll for a while because they don't have people to run it. Don told me that the city was trying to decide whether they would start paying that person to run the ambulance, to do the forms. They do give that person money in Rapids. That's how they do theirs. I told Don that we would not give them money for wages. We didn't want to get in that program at all. But I also told her that the stipend has not been revisited since in the 90s. So we're looking 25 years on that stipend that we give for the ambulance storage and rent for the building. I told her that I would be, this is my personal thought, I would be receptive to giving them $400 more a year or per month. And I also understand that I think we should probably do this to the Breda and Coon Rapids area, give them all the same raise on their stipend. They all handle their stipend differently. And it's, like I said, it's for rent for us, and they're housing our building, keeping it dry and keeping it, getting as much life out of it as we can. So I'm just going to yield to them how they spend their monies. But I do think it's time to revisit that. And I told her I thought I could go up to maybe $400 per month. Okay, any questions?
Well, I think this is gonna be a problem we're gonna see in the near future all over. I just had a visit yesterday with a couple people in regard to first responders and firemen, and they're saying they're not gonna renew their volunteer license anymore because of all the requirements that are being put on them. So I think there's something that's gonna have to need to be done on this, whether it's on a state level or local level. But it's going to be an issue that we're not going to have these volunteers and these outlying departments much longer.
Gene, that's been my topic of conversation for the last 10 years. I've tried to tell people that somehow we've lost the term volunteer. We've turned it into, you want to have your personnel trained, you want them to have, but also you're asking these people to give up their lives because they're giving up time, not only time to go on the calls, they're spending time studying, they're spending time going away to take tests because none of them are in their communities. They have to travel to do that.
Well, the thing is that they sign on to do this, and then after they get on, the state and other people start putting more commitments on them, and it just becomes overbearing. You know, and I think the problem is we're not going to have the volunteers anymore because a lot of these younger families, their kids are involved in so many activities that they don't have time to do it. So we're in a different society here today where people are not so conscious about being community minded.
That's correct. In fact, I visited with a gentleman from the Jamaica area about, probably 6 months, 8 months ago. And Jamaica and Bagley are currently sharing a fire department because they can't find enough people. And they're 7 or 8 miles away from each other. So there's going to be travel times, there's going to be issues. And I see the fire departments are not far behind this. So this problem will resurface. I hope that the stipend is enough to spur on maybe some posts for a temporary situation, but I don't think this is the real answer.
Well, you know, and I question if they were taking advantage of the tax credits that they get as a volunteer now. Fire department and first responders are able to get a credit. I really did not know how much that was, but they told me it amounts to $50 off their income. Well, by the time you get done the tax break, that didn't amount to squat.
Yeah.
Probably enough to buy maybe a coffee and a sandwich, if that.
Yeah, I think Breda area has been very lucky. I think first of all, we have a paramedic that lives up there, which helped a lot. But we've been pretty lucky up there. They're a pretty community-minded people. And it's not that Manning isn't, it's just the younger generation is not taking a liking to this, and for various reasons.
And I will agree with what you said before, Rich, about every community is going to have to take care of their own. And I would agree. Breda's got a real good staff up there, and they do a good job. They don't have any shortages.
Yeah, I did visit with the Carroll Fire Department, and they do have volunteers, and their volunteership is there, but it's down from a lot from what it used to be. I got the guy that I talked to had been on quite a while. He's just seen it slowly come down over the years. So it's not just a community problem, it's getting to be a larger one. And like I said, I've had experience, I watched some experience in Polk County at a basketball game, and it was 40 minutes before an ambulance got there to a smaller community that's in the edge of Polk County. Those are the things that people are facing if they don't volunteer. Because it's a numbers game to the ambulance, a numbers game to the fire departments. Where would you position those personnel to do those services? It all comes down to the numbers.
So what is the immediate concern, Rich, in Manning?
Immediate concern, it seems to be in Manning, and Stephanie can vouch for that. I think Coon Rapids pays their person to do the paperwork, to keep the shifts running, to make sure that everybody's here, the flip flops. I need off this week. It's quite a job, and I think that they're wanting to pay their person, and I said, well, you're more welcome to pay your volunteer if you want to. That's your choice. But I said the only thing that we can revisit is the stipend for the rental. Now, what you do with that money, that is entirely up to you. So that's kind of the place where I think we left it.
Well, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think the the staff, the first responders in Breda are compensated for their services.
Yeah, and they are in Manning. As I understand it, Dean, the city of Breda gets the stipend for the rental of the building that, and the ambulance stays in their fire hall. And then they just turn around and give that money to the fire department. They let them manage the whole thing. Or their first responders. That's how I understand it.
Yeah.
Coon Rapids is a little bit different twist. Manning had a little bit different twist on that one, but I think finding someone to run the program, and I think that they were talking maybe giving them $4,000 or $5,000 a year to do it, which is not a lot of money, but there's a lot of headaches to go with it to make sure the forms are getting filled out. And that's another thing. Darryl has told me some of the communities are getting bad about not getting the forms turned in a timely fashion for his reports, that where the ambulance went and how much they used and the supplies and all that's hard to keep track of until you find out a month later, you know, so.
So for the city of Manning, is it a stipend issue? I mean,
Well, I think so. I think that extra money would help them. That's what they think would solve some of the woes. Is that how you?
That's how I interpreted it.
So, but like I said, if we do it for one, we need to do it for every one of them.
But I can't necessarily, it's gonna resolve their issue. I mean, the job.
Yeah.
The job, Amy's job, I mean, it requires quite a bit of dedication and commitment, so it all leads back to people wanting to do a civic duty and, you know, truly want to step up and help their community, like Dean had said. This, I think, will help, but this isn't the fix-all.
I don't think this is the fix-all, Dean. No, I don't.
Well, I think you're gonna have we're gonna have the same type of issues in the, like Arcadia, Dedham, and Elber, ones that don't have any ambulance that neither. I think you're gonna have the same situation, because like you said, to get that reporting done is getting to be an issue. Because it takes so much time for them. That's the thing I heard from these two people yesterday.
So I'm just throwing out there the $400 a month increase, and it would be a $400 a month increase for Coon Rapids, Manning, and Breda.
And to give you a little history, in the 90s, they were at 700 and we kicked it up to 1,400, so 20 years old. 30.
Yeah, so they doubled it 25 years ago, and I don't think doubling it's the right answer here either. But but that's why I kind of picked the number of $400 more. So they would be at $1,800 a month per site. I think it comes to like $14,400 a year difference.
Did Darryl have a problem with that, working that into his budget?
It's not in Darrell's budget.
No, you'd have to do a budget.
Yeah, we'd have to do a budget amendment for it.
He doesn't have that kind of extra, couple $100 maybe.
Yeah, he won't have that in there. And it may not solve Manning's issue. We may be taking over the ambulance in July anyway. So, but I think if we give them a chance, maybe they can make it work.
well, after 25 years, it's probably overdue.
Okay. Any
I
more?
mean, do you guys feel 400 sufficient?
I don't know.
Well, the problem I have with it is that 400 is, we're gonna have to make that up in the budget somewhere. You know how that budget is anyway. It's always shortfall with Medicare and everything else.
Yeah, it is. But our expenses are gonna.
I would not go any more than 400. I definitely would not.
I agree with you, Gene, and here's how I look at it, is if we would lose that down there, we'd probably be doing a budget amendment for our our current ambulance program anyway because of the increased expenses. Go running down the calls or wear and tear on the vehicles, it just adds up faster. Not that we can't do it, we have the personnel to do it, it's just, could be more overtime, there could be a little bit more of everything, so. I thought the $400 was a reasonable amount.
Yeah, it's probably something that, you know, should have been raised several times in the last 25 years, maybe $100 or $100 at a time or something like that. And that probably would have been more beneficial but nobody's raised any concerns or questions about it.
Yeah.
And so nothing gets done. I guess you grease
Well,
the squeaky wheel.
I think that's right.
I think the topic was brought up once before this, if I remember right. You remember, Neil?
Couple of years.
No, I don't remember, Gene.
I thought there was
No,
I don't know that we did anything though.
Don had that conversation with me a couple of years ago, and at that time, I just didn't feel it was the time to make the move. But I think I've kind of rethought that process a little bit now, and I think we should. We need a motion on that. That'd be best.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking for, and I'll tell you what, I'll make the motion from the chair spot that we increase the stipend to the 3 communities by $400 per month. And we will figure out but we'll have to do a budget amendment to cover that.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Any more discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. All right, committee reports. Who would like to go first?
I'd like to go first. I'll start with Wednesday with the Rolling Hills. Our monthly financial report I questioned because the ending amount of the last month did not match the beginning amount of the current month. And it has to do with apportionment of taxes, and they're getting this straightened out. I just wanted to be able that a governance board or any other person could balance an account, and they're going to make changes in regards to that. As far as the 28E, I think all of the counties have agreed to that, and we have had an attorney tell us that the electronic board attendance is okay by some of the new members. Otherwise, they'll have to be doing a lot of traveling, a lot of meetings. We had provider contracts, 13 of them approved. Most of them had very little or no changes. There was some legislation passed, House File 2643, and it had some effects on certain regions, but none in ours. And also, we had some discussion on what would be the best way to have payments made to Rolling Hills. And I did ask Courtney, and she said it'd be ideal to have 2 separate payments due if taxes come in. And her suggestion was November and May 1st. And we'll talk about this at our following meeting. Okay. Thursday, we had the meeting with Shive Hattery and Baiting. And I guess we're all at the meeting, so I won't go into great detail. I do look forward to Thursday or the 24th and of July and the 23rd of July when the installation of the modules is done. We looked at some of the change requests, and I wish them good luck in getting the sprinklers deleted. Our next meeting, of course, is going to be August 20th. Gene Myers might want to help me with this next one. We did meet with Louis Grody concerning his purchase of Fairway cards. He thought it was a concern with HIPAA. I checked with our county attorney, John Warden, and it's not a HIPAA issue, according to his judgment, and I haven't heard back from Louis on that. Louis is going to make some changes in the request form. This has not been done to our satisfaction, and Gene informed him of that in a letter. And I concurred with Gene this morning on a reply. So I think Louis needs to do some work on their form. And he also needs to check to see if the HIPAA is, Louis needs to check with HIPAA. I don't think HIPAA is a concern with these Fairway cards. I don't know. I kind of said that it was okay to issue this check to the veterans because Louis had agreed to do certain things with this application form, but he hasn't done them as of yet. Gene, do you have a comment on that?
No, I think you kind of covered it good. I think, it's just a matter of fact, I get this ironed out details. I was not satisfied with it because the way he had about the auditor in there, and I said, we're changing auditors this year, so that's even incorrect the way he had it in there. But I think he's on vacation this week, isn't he? And I think that's probably why we haven't heard him back.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
But he, the only thing that I would say that he had two of his commissioners were there, and I think we made a good point. We were trying to make sure that this was covered, and that we were going to be able to follow up on where this money went to. So it wasn't just that was the main purpose of it.
I think at the beginning, a couple of the commissioners that were there, Ann Landers was there and Jim Bruckman, and they were a little bit defensive at first, but they could understand where we were coming from. And I think leaving the meeting, they agreed with us. So we have some work to do with that department yet.
I have a couple of questions. Number one, where did this funding come from?
Well, it was again like I assumed. It was part of that money they get from the state, and if you turn it back, you get reduced. So they just didn't want to return it back, and so part of the reason he had the extra money was because they didn't have the training this year because of COVID. So he had to find a different source to spend the money on. Okay.
Okay, will this become an ongoing thing then for them, or?
It should not become an ongoing thing.
Gene is correct. They get $10,000 annually, and they weren't not able to spend this. And they do have a temporary suspension of the regulatory provisions saying how this money has to be spent. He gave us a copy of that. So what he's doing is kosher, but he should have some accountability on who is receiving this money.
Okay, and that, as you know, well, that my biggest beef there was just make sure it's equitable how it's divided out. And I had a little problem with where the funding was coming from because that's taxpayer money with a non-elected people making a decision that even a non-elected board. And I know it's a fine line, but I had some issues with it.
Rich, I think Neil and I both give strong indication that's the way we felt too.
Okay, very good.
And I told him too that I'm never in favor of spending money just to avoid from sending it back, but I can see where on this situation, it's
Okay.
warranted.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Gene, for your input. And that concludes my committee report. I have no other meetings between now and our next meeting.
Well, then I'll go next. On Tuesday, I had CADC meeting. We approved the financials, and Lisa Shimkat was there to talk about the Iowa SBDC update on that. Took quite a bit of time on that. We reviewed our financial reviews. We also reviewed the audit and also the CAD in-kind contribution from the chamber that we have to sign off every year, being as we share programs together. We did have a board member resignation. Mr. Snyder resigned from the board. We then did approve an option that's a joint option with TADC and CADC down at Templeton for some property. We did do a 3-year option on that, and that was approved by both. Was approved on last Thursday by TADC and then on Tuesday by CADC. We had updates on the COVID-19 program updates. The labor shed data just has finally come out on that, and that was basically that on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, again, Neil talked about the meeting we had with the architect and the contractor in regard to the jail. I will not go into any more of that. Thursday evening, I had a board meeting at New Opportunities. It was kind of a short one. We had some board training from Nancy Rowetter on a prevention specialist, give us a little 15, 20-minute update there. We had our financial reports that we accepted those. We're at 67% of our year. The board did approve the 28E agreement at our board meeting with Carroll County in regard to general assistance. We did approve a community service block grant supplemental application, and basically a lot of that money was for staff training and the strategic planning. I think that was, and also we did do had a COVID update also. It's not throughout our 7-county area. We're not immune to this, and we've had some issues there. We did sign a memorandum of understanding of purchasing a building in Carroll for our early Head Start center base program. As you know, we got that grant. They did a bid for a new building, and it came way over budget. So we found this other building that was going to be able to do that and be under grant and have it fitted to our needs. We also had an update on the Perry project and signed the contract with Ball Construction to start to work on that property down there. Then Friday, I had the meeting again with the VA, with Neil and Louis, and then also I went back out to New Opportunities, had to sign some documents. This week, I think we got is Friday is the coalition meeting, I assume, and that's the only thing I got this week.
No, I think that's been put off because of the holiday. That's what I had in the latest from Nicole.
Okay, all right. And then I got a free week.
Okay.
That's my report.
I can go next. Last week I got actually a couple calls on the way that some of the maintenance on the roads around the Mount Carmel area were being maintained. And so I went out, took a look, and called Zach. Zach came out and joined me. We looked around. We did talk to one of the residents in that area, and it's been a controversial area, that south and east of Mount Carmel area there. Hopefully after the discussions that we had, that things will kind of smooth out a little bit there. I've been working on the North Raccoon River Watershed Management Coalition issue. I did get through the plan. On Monday is the last day to submit any kind of comments about the plan. And I've gotten several calls from Carrie Napatel from Storm Lake. She's the chairman of the coalition, on what my comments would be. I guess I sent everyone this memorandum, and it looks something like this. So if you look at that, review that, that'll kind of tell you what some of the issues are, being taxation of the members, pot, and several of these do not really even apply to us. And so, however, the nutrient reduction standard does, and their goal. The nutrient reduction standard itself is 41%, but the total maximum daily load, the TMDL, is what's at 48%. So in the discussions that I had, when a river or a body of water enters a city like Des Moines, the EPA steps in, and there are requirements by them. And that is what the requirement is, the TMDL. So, however, reading the plan, there are restrictions on TMDL, restrictions and targets on different on different watersheds, and i.e. The Des Moines River, and the TMDL reduction target there is 34.4. The Cedar River at Cedar Rapids is, the TMDL is reduction target is 35%. And the Raccoon River that we're going to be discussing is at 48%. So that is an issue that I will probably take up with them. Why are the other ones so much more reasonable and this one is not? And so I will go ahead and send them my comments, and I will have you review them on our Monday morning meeting on the 6th, and I'll send them off then to the coalition on Monday afternoon. One of the things that, I guess a couple of the things, if we do not approve the plan, if Carroll County does not approve the plan, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't kick us out of the WMA. We just don't agree with the plan. There is one part of this that is a concern, and it would be that based on the assumption splitting the WMCA or the plan so that it only covers the watershed, and this has to do basically with the watershed boundary itself, would make it so that the TMDL standard may not apply, and there would be no potential impact of funding by the nutrient strategy standard. So we could be affected by this as far as funding is concerned if there were some structures Carroll County wanted to apply. However, upon more review of the plan, there are 18% of Carroll County's population, 18% of Carroll County's population is affected by the North Raccoon River. Calhoun County, I think it's 96% of the population is affected by the tributaries of the Raccoon River. And of the area that affects Carroll County, one of them is the Wall Lake Inlet. And this would be drain 70 that goes north up to the Blackhawk Lake. And so from Blackhawk Lake, then the outlet goes into the North Raccoon River. Considerable work has been done, and there's a plan for that watershed. And the Iowa Soybean Association and the and I was part of this too. The Agriculture's Clean Water Alliance, of which the Iowa Soybean Association and Diane Ursey did several years ago. They spent $250,000 in developing a plan for the Elk Run watershed. So I would say that probably it looks like 75% of all the area that is in Carroll County that affects the North Raccoon River has a plan for it. So I think going forward, even if we were affected by voting no for this plan, I don't think it would have that large of an impact on Carroll County. So I'll do some more research here, but I think that is kind of how I'm looking at it right now. I think my input for the how we will probably not be involved in the plan would be very minimal. It would be just a comment like, we do not agree with the 48% TMDL standard. And so I think it'll be very brief. I don't think we need any detail here that will tie us to anything. But I think as we go along, I think that I don't think we have any real needs to be involved in this. However, if you read through that memo, it also said the TMDL applies not only to the area draining to the Raccoon River itself, but also to the North, Middle, and South Raccoon watersheds as well. So I guess that's another part of this thing where how will this affect and the Middle and South Raccoon Rivers? So the pursuit of a plan for that watershed could possibly be delayed. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, that was my week. We don't have a emergency coalition. You don't think, Rich?
I don't think so. Look at Nicole's last email. I think that had blocked out because of the holiday.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this, that the count is now up to 83 and rising, and I don't foresee the weekend helping any. I'm sure that our numbers will go up. I will say that Iowa now has been included in a state that is getting some restriction as far as travel is concerned, along with Texas, Florida, California. So we just need to be staying safe. That's my week.
Yeah, next Monday I had the newspaper and radio, was unable to do the radio. It was later in the afternoon when I had called and did not receive a phone call back until the following day, but there really wasn't a ton to report, and I did get it out in the newspaper. That afternoon, I was supposed to have a daycare meeting, but we did cancel because DHS really hasn't changed any of the laws. And then Wednesday, Rich and I had the ambulance discussion, which we have discussed during our meeting. No need to go further into that. And then also on Wednesday, I had some discussions with Zach, the county engineer. I had received some complaints that were happening on Phoenix Avenue. The complaints were taken into consideration. The spots were lasered out and they had met Zach's requirements. And then I also had some conversations with Zach about some hauling of black dirt for the Willie Blacktop project. And then Thursday, we had the jail meeting. Not only that, you guys were all there, and Rich and I came here and we took a tour of some of the stuff that's happening. Excited to watch that keep progressing. This coming week, I have just the supervisor meeting today, and that is it for the rest of the week.
Thanks, everybody. I'll jump in. Believe last Monday, after the meeting, I had a call from a resident that has having internet issues, and we had a long discussion about it. And the reason he called is because he's one of those customers that is in between services, and the 100-foot pole and the 100-foot tower that we denied Windstream. When he finally got to the right person, that was their solve. That was the way that they were going to solve it. And we said if they couldn't put it in our, and they had to go to private right away. He wanted to know why that decision was made. And he had a valid point while we allow other utilities to go up and down and place big structures also. After quite a bit of conversation with him, he understands. He's not happy about it, but I told him that he's gonna have to try to figure out something else, and I gave him a couple ideas that I remember from years past, and I haven't heard back from him, but I did sympathize with him. I understand because he has a farming operation, and his grandkids were trying to do some schooling there also at the same time. Then on Tuesday, I had a chat, lost my train of thought on that one. We'll just forget it because it must be not that important right now. And then on Wednesday, I had a meeting with Banning and stuff. We've covered that pretty good. Thursday, I had the Shive Hattery. That's going pretty well. And yes, I'm getting kind of anxious, and it appears that we might be getting closer back to being on schedule. I think we were about 30 days behind. We might only be 2 weeks behind now. So hopefully continue the good weather, even though we need the rain. Iowa workforce. I had a meeting Monday night and Tuesday night. And I'll be having an in-person meeting sometime in the very near future. All of the counties have returned to 2080. We are almost officially a workforce region. The state has received it. They have not put their blessing on it yet, but they've never denied anybody yet. I think we may have a fiscal agent. We have an administrative person coming online the 1st of July. And we can pay the bills. We need to finish our ironing it out, and we have some things to work out about meetings, and make sure electronic meetings. And I want an extra layer of approval on bill paying. I don't want it to be one person to the next. I would like to have another layer in there, and we're trying to solve that. And I think that most of the other county supervisors agree that they like to have some layer of guidance in there to make sure we're not just rubber stamping every bill. That's all I had last week. I don't have much of anything coming up in front of me. I do need to visit with Manning Hospital. Has reached out to me, and I need to visit with them yet. I assume it's dated the ambulance conversation, so maybe I'll know more next Monday.
That's it for committee reports. Courtney, do you have anything?
Like in general, no. Real quick, so for next week, Dean mentioned we talk about North Raccoon. I have homestead military applications, disabled vet applications. We do that every year. Deadline is July 1st, so you guys will receive a list on those. And we'll have some tower stuff, leases, things like that. And then the only other thing I have is the plats that we added.
Yeah. Okay, Carl, is there anybody online? How many do we have? You know? 9. Okay. All right, next thing up is the addition of the 2 plats that we received. They look pretty straightforward to me. Any comments on those? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a first and a second for the approval of the 2 plats as presented today. All those in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion carries. All right, it is 12:12. And I would like to have a motion to go into closed session.
I will make that motion that we go into closed session at 10:12.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session section per Iowa Code Chapter 21.5, 1C. It's just to discuss strategy with counsel and matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely prejudged or a disadvantage to the position of the government body in that litigation. All those in favor say aye.
We do a roll call.
Aye.
Roll
Aye.
call. Roll call.
Ruggles,
Yes.
Houseman.
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
Shetler,
Yes.
Bach. Okay, motion carries.
Andy, if you're online, speak up, will you? Can you leave, Andy?
Here.